Welcome back to the Home Stretch podcast. Today's episode, I'm going to be diving into a little bit of past relationships for me, but also mostly really just like things that I've learned throughout the years. I have had my fair share of negative, toxic relationships, and I feel like there is always something to learn from each one, even though they've been difficult. So I feel like I do have a lot to say on this topic. And to end things off in a really good note, things can come to you at the right time. So, like, for example, Nathan and I have been together for 2 years this year, and he's just shown me what a secure, like, man is and how you are supposed to be treated. So, I feel like I've been through the negative relationships and the toxic ones, and I've come out the other side, and I've got the man of my dreams, and we have a beautiful home together. We've got a dog together, and I just can't wait for the rest of our lives together, to be honest. So, yeah, today is going to be kind of similar to last week's, a little bit more chatty, not so talking about house buying process and the things to do with the house, more so me and more so my relationships, ex partners, things that I've learned from the past, and hopefully you feel a little bit less alone in the situation if you're going through issues. Even if you seem to be attracting the same person constantly, like I did, I can kind of help with some little sprinkles of advice on how to get out of that, because I changed my perspective on quite a few different things. And I feel like that is what attracted Nathan back into my life. Because, funny story that I will go into, but we actually knew each other before when we were like teenagers. So we didn't even go to the same school either. So yeah, that's what today's episode is all about. Relationships are always going to be a weird topic because everyone's relationship is different, whether you're in one right now or you've been through your fair share of not so great relationships like I have in the past. You kind of get told in life that you're supposed to find the one and be in love and get married and have kids and have the house and have the all American dream or whatever people call it. Do they call it that? Or is it like the white picket fence? Maybe it's that as well. I don't know. But it's something that's drilled into us, I think, from when we're kids, and you watch the kind of films about the princesses and the prince saves the princess and they fall in love. And yeah, it's drilled into us that we're supposed to be with someone. And that's not mean to say that being single is a bad thing, because I've had a great experience being single where you're a bit more selfish. You can kind of have more control in your life. You don't really have someone else to think about apart from like maybe family members and your friends and stuff. Whereas when you are in a relationship, it is a bit more about compromise, and it is a bit more about understanding someone else's feelings and not always trying to be right all the time. It's a learning curve, and I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly never perfect, by the way. Like me, Nathan, anyone in life, no one is perfect. You're always going to be training yourself and understanding in more detail or compromising more. You grow together in relationships, I feel. And yeah, I've just had my fair share of it going the opposite way. So let's dive straight into today's episode, all about relationships. I want to kind of start a little bit on my past. And anyone that knows me will always know that I was the one that always had the crazy boyfriends. And crazy is a bit of a strong word, actually. I probably wouldn't use crazy. I would probably maybe more so use not emotionally intelligent. That's probably a nicer way of putting it. I think crazy is a bit harsh because no one's really crazy. It's just your perception of them as being a bit more high, that sort of thing. But in terms of my past relationships, I was in a 4.5 year relationship with the first person I thought I was in love with. But looking back now, it definitely wasn't love. It was definitely more of like kind of attaching to an older figure that I was sort of like looking up to in a way. So I was with him from when I was 16 to when I was 21. And in general, the relationship was okay. There wasn't too many crazy ups and downs, but there was obviously some. I do remember that relationship just getting a bit platonic and a little bit like kind of boring would be the word I would describe it. You kind of fall into a routine, you kind of fall into like, this is normality. I see you then, I see you this time, that sort of thing. But we both went to uni, and yeah, the experience was a bit odd, to be honest. We went to the same uni up in Newcastle, and he was 4 years older than me. So he went up to uni first up there, and it made me want to go up there too, right? Because I was besotted by him. I thought I loved him a lot, and I just kind of wanted to be near him. I felt like if I went up to Newcastle, I would have a support system there because my boyfriend's living up there for like his last year. And that just didn't happen. And it was actually the complete opposite, where if they were on a night out, he didn't want to see me. And it made me feel really like hurt, to be honest, because I thought, I've not come here to follow you to uni, even though I kind of did. But I kind of was expecting more of like a, I want to be around you type thing, whereas it was the complete opposite. And he just didn't want me being around his friends. And I always thought that was really weird and really fishy. So, yeah, so I basically went up to uni. Everything was a bit crazy. And we kind of still just made it work, even though there was ups and downs. We were arguing quite a lot over like silly things. We would break up and get back together quite a lot. It was your first relationship. It's a little bit more immature. Even though he was quite a bit older than me, it generally did seem like, looking back at it now, it was quite an immature relationship. And I was not a saint here, by the way. I was probably overthinking, like paranoid, that sort of thing. And it was probably rubbing off on the relationship. But even though it was a bit of a up and down relationship, I still deep down thought that we were going to get married, have kids, have the house, have whatever. I really did think that being my first long-term relationship, that was going to be everything. But I was very wrong. And my sister, actually, she's getting married next year. Can't wait. And she's been with the guy that she was with at school for, they've been together for 11 years now. And I feel like in my mind, I always thought that was going to be me. So when we did break up, and I had my 21st birthday, and I honestly swear that I thought he was going to propose to me, right? So I thought, we're coming up to nearly 5 years, probably going to propose to me, right? Wrong. He actually broke up with me instead, which is, I shouldn't laugh about it because I was absolutely distraught. Thinking, I feel like this is like a therapy session for me because I'm going back through my experiences with these people. But I was honestly so sure that he was going to propose to me, right? And he didn't. I was like, it's fine. He'll probably propose to me soon. Back from uni now, whatever. Oh no, he full on broke up with me. So yeah, that was like not fun at all. And actually saying that, I was still up at uni at this point, and I was in my final year. I think I was just starting my final year at uni. And I just honestly couldn't believe it. I've never been so, if you've ever had your heart broken before, it is a feeling like no other. This was the first time that I've ever felt heartbroken. And if you have experienced it before, you'll understand what I mean. Because you have envisioned so much this facade of a life with someone, your brain can't quite comprehend that's not going to happen anymore. Everything was, in a way, like my mind was shutting down. I wouldn't even say I was like depressed, but I was very sad. And I didn't really want to eat. I remember on the night that he broke up with me properly, when we had a chat in the car, and he was like, this is it. And I was like, no, it's not. And he was like, it is. So I was like, oh, okay. And I came back in the house. My mum made my favourite meal, which was mac and cheese. And I couldn't eat it. It was just me and my mum that night. And we sat at the dinner table, and she was like, you can't eat it, can you? And I was like, no. And I'm thinking, oh, so you've experienced heartbreak before as well then, right? And I just went up to my room, and I was just alone all night, kind of with my thoughts. And it was really tough. Like the first night was probably the hardest. And yeah, just it physically hurt. It sounds so weird because like it's just an emotional thing, right? You're emotionally attached to someone and then they break up with you, that's fine. But like physically, I felt like my heart was like hurting. And it wasn't a nice experience, and it wasn't something that I ever wanted to experience again. So I feel like from that moment, I probably low key had walls up and had my guard up for probably every other relationship that I was in after that, to be honest, because I never wanted to experience that pain again. And I felt like for me, I let someone in and they didn't want to fight for the relationship or fight for me. So they've broken my heart. And now it's like, well, I never want that feeling to happen again. So I can't let anyone in fully. And what kind of stung me even more and, what hurt me even more is that people that I was friends with, because we were all in the same friendship group, which makes it even more awkward. And he was going out with my friends that I've known since I was like 4 years old from school and other friends as well. So like they were all like hanging around with him without inviting me. And that hurt me even more because I thought, I'm sad. My heart's broken. I would love to see my friends, but they're all hanging out with him. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And I actually stayed friends with those people after the breakup. And I kind of wish I didn't now because they literally didn't care about me. And it's difficult when you're in the same friendship group because you don't want to leave anyone else out. But there was a clear, I'm going to hang out with him more than I am with you and invite him to like things and not invite me. Like I felt really hurt about that. And I probably always had my wits about me, like with those friends after that experience and kind of probably did keep them more at an arm's length, but still felt really hurt. So eventually I started feeling a little bit better. We were still friends because we were in the same friendship group. And then not soon after, he told me that he was seeing someone else pretty soon after. I'm pretty sure it was like 4 months after. And that hurt me even more. And do you know what? I obviously still wasn't over him at that point because I felt really like he's put like I don't know, he's like hurt me and then he's hurt me even more. But like everyone deserves to move on and be happy. And obviously our relationship just was not working. So like, of course he should be able to see someone else and do whatever and start a life with someone else. That's absolutely fine. So it took me a while to get over that, basically. And I have learned that you always need to work on the relationship together. We weren't growing together as a couple. We were young when we got with each other and you grow apart. We definitely grew apart from each other. But if I saw him now, I would always be civil with him. I've seen them the odd time here and there, and it's always been a bit weird because there's always going to be that weird feeling with the first person that really broke your heart. But I've now kind of healed properly from that and gotten over it. And like hearing his name or seeing him doesn't affect me anymore like it did way back in the day. So I think a first kind of heartbreak really teaches you not to think that like everything is going to work out like a fairy tale ending like you think, but also not even to like not have your heart open because you always should, like when you're seeing someone or you're with someone or whatever. But yeah, I think for me, I just learned that like love can hurt and love can hurt real bad. So I think negatively going forward, that taught me not to let someone in fully. But eventually I did get over that because now my heart is fully open. Me and Nathan are very happy right now. And I've just never met anyone like him, to be honest. But anyways, that was my very first relationship. And then moving on after that, I never really had a proper, loving, connected relationship. So a lot of them were like boyfriends that I maybe had for like 7 months or so. There wasn't like a strong connection there. And there wasn't even anything that was too like negative about the situation or bad. It just didn't feel like it connected. And in my mind, I just felt like I was in a relationship for the sake of it and not happy, if that kind of makes sense. So a lot of times with relationships, you have to be really brave. And if you're like falling out of love with someone, or you don't feel like you love someone, or you feel like they're way into it than you are, and you're not really sure where it's going, but they see a future with you, whatever, you just have to be open and communicative about how you're feeling. I feel like before I never would really open up about my feelings, but in my current relationship, that like the communication we have is wild. That's how we understand each other so well. So I feel like you need to have that good communication. Me and my first boyfriend, we didn't have that. Nothing was really that deep. It was very surface level and wasn't like a proper emotional connection. Whereas going through my other boyfriends, it was kind of the same. It was very surface level, nothing too deep. Apart from one, actually, there was one ex-partner that I was with for maybe 2 years. And that was the most up and down relationship I've ever had in my life. You know those toxic relationships? It was one of those. It was so bad. When it was good, it was so good. But when it was bad, it was so bad. When I first got with him, I was single and I was like, I don't want a relationship. That's the last thing on my mind. But he was like pursuing me like hard. And I kind of felt like I couldn't say no. I kind of liked the idea and liked the fact that someone was like, I really want you and I really want to be with you. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. You're kind of fighting for me, even though I'm saying that's not what I want. But realistically, he should have respected my boundaries and he didn't. And I let him disrespect my boundaries. So that was something that I should have figured out there and then. But again, it's so hard to know when you're in that moment, like how you're going to react. If someone's like really pursuing you, you're probably going to find that a bit attractive and a bit like, oh, okay, you really wanted me. Like, I'm obviously great, boosting the ego. But realistically, it was like the worst relationship I think I had out of all of them because it was really hard to detach after it was getting bad. Like when times were really bad, there was always that pull to be like, but it is good sometimes. Like, so why not try it? And there's obviously a connection here. When people say like twin flame, that analogy where it's so toxic, but there's something that just keeps pulling you to that person, it was like that. It was very toxic. I mean, I'm trying to think of another word to be honest, but that was it. But the times we had were good as well. Like we did have some good memories and things, but it was quite negative as well. And there was just something keeping us together. But eventually I got the courage to break up with them. And that was really hard to do because we had kind of had conversations about that before. And I always forgave him. And it was really hard to finally say enough is enough. You need to go on your way and I need to go on mine. And he didn't take it very well. And obviously he was trying to pursue the relationship back again, of course, when I broke up with him. But then eventually things calmed down, died down. And looking back now, that was the best thing I ever done. And if you've ever left a toxic relationship, you will understand the feeling of looking back and going, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not with that person. And you kind of look back at things that it's taught you. And I wish him well, to be honest. And I wish any of my exes well. But you always have to like not always blame the other person because you kind of depends obviously the relationship, right? Because everyone's relationship is different. I like to reflect on my part in it too. What could I have done differently? And it might have been mostly me arguing things about their behavior, but was there a better way of me confronting that? Was there a better way of me holding my boundaries when I've said, please don't do that again? They do it again and I forgive them. Please don't do that again. They do it again. I forgive them. Like I'm not holding my own boundaries in that. So the cycle is just repeating. And I feel like that is the same with any toxic relationship. If you don't respect your boundaries and hold your boundaries and know your self-worth, that it will just keep happening again and again. And it won't just be that same person. If you like the universe, I think tests you in relationships, and what it will do is it will put other people that are similar that might test your boundaries in different ways. And it will ask the question, have you learnt your lesson from last time that you're just going to let someone walk all over you? And when you eventually say, I have learnt my lesson, no, I don't want this, that's when the universe will kind of be like, okay, so you're now ready for like the real one. And it is frustrating when that happens because I've had quite a few exes that have taught me a lot and have been up and down, but eventually you do hold your boundaries and then the universe does deliver you a secure attachment man who is everything you wanted and more. Like I am living proof that if you are patient, if you work on yourself and heal yourself, and you can't be fully healed, right? But understanding your boundaries, understanding your self-worth, you will attract the right person in your life. And that's exactly what happened with us. Like Nathan, I've wrote down before on a piece of paper everything that I want in a partner. Nathan is all of that and more. Like I couldn't have asked for a better listener, a better communicator. He's so attractive. Like his eyes are gorgeous. He is so funny. He is so generous. He listens to me. He comforts me. Even when he brings up something that's uncomfortable, like that has annoyed him, for example, he'll put his hand on my leg and go, look, I just want to talk to you about something. And he'll make sure that connection is always there. And we just get over things so quickly. Like even everyone has a bit of conflict, right? And don't get me wrong, of course we have disagreements and conflicts like any relationship does. we get over things quicker and we can generally sit down and talk things through. There might be times where we can't reach an agreement on something, and that's fine. We leave it there and we put it to bed. But it's like the first relationship I've ever had that I actually feel seen and listened to, and that I am that person's person. There's no trust issues, there's no jealousy issues, there's no I'm not second guessing things, I'm not overthinking things. He makes me feel calm. He makes me feel at peace. He makes me feel loved. He makes me feel like worthy. And all my exes in the past haven't made me feel that way. So let's move on to Nathan now, because I kind of want to talk a little bit about how we met and a little bit about our relationship in general, even though I've just spoken about that, but want to go back in time. When people say that sometimes you meet the one like 3 times before you actually get with them, they might be onto something here, maybe, because me and Nathan have actually known each other in the past. So we're from the town next to each other, and he was in a different school and so was I. So we didn't have that connection in terms of school. But I think it was when Facebook was like starting to become more of a thing, and we met through mutual friends. I think we were like 15 at this point. So this is just before I met my boyfriend when I was 16. So the first date was me basically getting a bus to his town. I mean, I went to him, so he needs to give me some points for that. And then we just went for a walk. Like, we literally just went for a walk. And I do remember thinking, you're really fit. Like, you are really fit. And me and my friend have a running joke that, like, way back in the day, we were like, he is so attractive. So, like, now that I'm with him now, I'm like, it's just weird. It's weird that we just used to find him so attractive when he was younger. And now I'm like, I'm with him. It's crazy. So that happened. And then we kind of just stopped talking to each other. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure that he sacked me off, because I remember back in the day that I thought he was very fit, and I thought the walk was very good, and I thought it went well. So I feel like after that, he maybe lost interest or whatever. I can't remember. So it's a running joke now between me and Nathan that he sacked me off. Whether or not that's true, we'll never know. But in my mind, I think that's what happened, but who knows? And when we got with each other, we actually looked back through our old messages on Facebook, and I don't think Instagram, we was on Instagram then, but we looked back through our Facebook messages, and I actually messaged him my number with a red love heart in, I think it was 2013 or something like that, which is crazy. And I'm pretty sure that was the time of BBM. So like the BlackBerry, and everyone had like the BBM groups or whatever it was called. We was all on there. So I feel like when we were talking to each other, it was there, and all of those messages would be gone now. So we'll never know. We'll never know the true story. But fast forward now to Glastonbury, not last year, the year before. So what was that? 2023. We managed to get tickets, luckily, which was like the golden ticket, because going to Glasgow, it's so hard to get tickets now. Like, I really hope to get tickets for the next one. I really do. So I posted on Instagram that I was going to Glasgow, and he messaged me, because we followed each other on Instagram before and probably liking each other's photos here and there, but nothing that I thought was going to come of it. Come Glasgow that year, and he messaged me on Instagram and said, I'm going to Glasgow as well. Maybe we should meet up for a drink. And I was like, yeah, that'd be lovely. And I wasn't in my mind thinking, I'm going to get with him. We're going to have a life together. We're going to be in a relationship. I just thought, oh, just older friends meeting up for a drink. Haven't seen you in about 12 years, 11 years or whatever it was. Let's definitely go for a drink. That sounds great. So I think we met up with each other eventually on Saturday, because the other days we were missing each other, and he was at one tent, I was at another. So it just wasn't like coinciding. So come the Saturday, I met up with him with my other 2 friends. And yeah, we just sat down and we talked for hours. And when you feel like that connection with someone on a deeper level, not surface level, but like to their soul, it was weird. I kind of had a feeling that I'm going to spend a lot of time with this person, and there's a real connection here that I can't explain. And I don't know if anyone else has ever felt like that, but I really felt compelled to carry on speaking to him and carry on seeing him. And I really couldn't wait to see him again after that night. So we parted ways. And then the next day, we were both randomly at the same tent, about 10 feet away from each other. Because I think I said to him, where are you? He said, I'm at this tent. I was like, oh, same. And he took a photo where he was. And I was like, I'm literally behind you. So he came over and we spent the whole day together. And he spent it with my friends. We went and watched Elton John. And it was just, oh, I'm getting goosebumps now. It was the most magical experience ever. And he met my friends properly, met my sister. And yeah, we just spent the last day together and we were actually driving back on that Sunday. So he stayed out with his friends afterwards, but he left all of his friends that day to spend it with me. And I just couldn't wait to see him again after that festival. So we went on our first date, I think a few weeks after that, because he was living in London as well. So Cambridge was the place that we would meet up at, which was nice. We went on our first date. We just had a great time. Again, I just felt that feeling of I've known you for a long time. And even though I have technically, but that we're going to spend a lot of time together. It's weird. You kind of just know when people do say that. I think that is a thing. And he said the same thing about me. You just kind of know. And yeah, we went on a few more dates. I went to London a few times. And then he asked me to be his girlfriend on the 9th of September, a few days after my birthday. And it's just been magical ever since. It is the most calming, incredible relationship I've ever had. And Nathan is just such a great person and he's made me into more of an open, communicative person as well. Like he has brought out the best side of me. And that is what a relationship I think should be doing. It should make you bring out your best side, not your worst side most of the time. So nothing's perfect. I know that, but it should be good most of the time. If it's bad most of the time, then something's not quite right. And it might be a bit tricky to get out of it, but your partner should build you up, not bring you down. And that's exactly what Nathan does. He's just the best listener. He is just amazing. And I will continue to rave about how much of a good person he is and how lucky I am to have met someone so great and so perfect for me. And I just can't wait for our life together. And it's kind of making me feel a bit emotional because I've been through quite a lot of tricky experiences in the past. And he's just made me realize that there is good people out there. So if you have experienced negative relationships or are in one right now, I want you to take a real good look at it and is that someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with? Can you see yourself being with that person forever? Because this is your life partner. This is someone that you want to spend time with and you don't want them to make you overthink things. You want them to be able to support you, comfort you, and not make you second guess things. That's not what a partner should do. They should work with you and you should be happy and you should be in a loving relationship with that person and absolutely love spending time with them, which is what I do. So yeah, I think looking back now, I kind of needed to go through all those negative experiences to realize what truly matters in a relationship. And it's having someone that's a best friend, honestly, and someone that you'll never second guess, someone that you trust fully and open, you trust them with your heart. You're opening your heart to them. You trust them in every aspect of life. You don't want to be overthinking that they're cheating on you, texting other people, following random weird girls on Instagram or chatting to other people. You deep down know that they would never do that to you and you fully open your heart up. And it is scary. I feel like it is a scary thing to fully give yourself to someone again, but you need to do that to be able to get over your past and actually enjoy the relationship flourish, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, can't wait for our life together. We're actually going on a Norwegian cruise next week for 2 weeks and I literally cannot wait. I just feel like my life is very blessed. I feel very full and I feel very fortunate to have met someone that is just perfect for me. And I really hope if you're going through it right now or you're single or you're in a relationship that you don't think is the right one for you, just know that you need to really hold your boundaries in terms of what you will accept out of that relationship. If they're talking to you in not very nice ways or whatever, do you really want to accept that? Because Nathan has never said a bad word to me, ever, okay? Even if we're having a disagreement, he will never, ever call me any names. And I feel like a lot of my exes have done that. So I think you need to really hold your boundaries of what you will accept in a relationship. If you're going to let them do that, they'll carry on doing it. And if you don't stand up and say no, the next relationship will do that to you as well, even if you did leave that one. The universe will always test you to see if you've learnt your lesson and if you're ready for that next secure, loving, kind, amazing relationship. So, yeah, that's a little kind of deep dive into my past a little bit and my current relationship with Nathan. And yeah, I really like this style of podcast. I feel like I'm really opening up a little bit more. Hopefully, this resonates with some of you as to relationships and love and just being authentically yourself when it comes to relationships. But, if there's one thing that I've taken away from any of my past relationships, is that you need to know your worth. And if you're not being treated the way you want to be treated, then you need to take a good hard look at the relationship. And if that means that you have to leave, you have to leave. And it's going to be difficult, but in the long run, you'll look back and be like, that was the best decision I've ever made, because you're stopping yourself from meeting potentially the love of your life. So yeah, that is kind of it for the podcast. I hope something in there wasn't too negative. I hope you found something a bit useful in there, even if it is just getting to know me a little bit more. But yeah, I will be doing the next podcast episode all about my skin. And I think I'm going to do it actually without any makeup on, just so you can kind of see my skin, what it's like, and go into a little bit of a deep dive into why my skin flared up in the first place, things that I've tried with my skin and how that helped or didn't help, and things that I'm potentially going to be trying in the future, because I have struggled with my skin for 5 years, from having no spots or acne before 25 years old to then having raging acne, very aggressive and very painful. If you have had acne before, cystic acne, it is so painful. So I am going to kind of talk about my journey and experience a little bit more in detail about that. So hopefully you can just know a bit more about that, really. Next episode will all be about skin. So thanks so much for watching, guys. And yeah, I hope to see you next time.